Match the direct. All right. Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing?
Morning, Justin.
Before we get started, I just wanted to mention this weekend storm blowing in. I'm sure pretty much everyone in here is aware of it. We got some flurries this morning. This evening, they're calling for a couple inches of snow, so it could get a little slick out there. Then tomorrow night into Sunday is going to be a pretty big storm, they're saying. So just everyone take it easy on the roads, plan ahead, give yourself a little extra time traveling wherever you're going. All right? Just want to make sure everyone's aware of that. For this week, the ECI Code of Conduct, works of OSHA, the Federal Rail Administration, and ECI safety standards. Safety news, 13 days without a recordable injury case. Continuing 815 days without an injury case that resulted in days away from work. So to continue from last week's discussion on work procedures, how we move, how we lift, what positions we put our bodies in when we're applying stress to them, when we're lifting things, we wanted to talk about our hands, protecting our hands, okay? There's been a recurring case, that's a big one for us here, hand injuries. August 2018, finger fracture, we had another finger fracture in July. April of 2017, finger laceration, and then another finger laceration in February. So 4 out of the 5 last recordable injury cases have been hand-related injuries, okay? So big emphasis on how we work, where we're putting our hands, how we use our hands to work, how we protect our hands, right? So we want to talk about the hierarchy of controls. We've been hammering on this one, and this continues right through for this week. When we're thinking about the tasks that we're doing for the day, we're planning ahead. We're thinking about, can we eliminate the hazard? So if we don't have to put our hands in areas where they could get hurt, lacerated, burned, we want to eliminate that hazard, okay? Sometimes that's not always possible. So can we substitute it? Can we use an engineering control, something like maybe like a lever or a pry bar or some other sort of lift mechanism that doesn't put our hands in those pinch points, right? Administrative controls. So that was something that Matt hit on last week as well, and we're going to emphasize again this week. Changing the way we work, right? The way we use our hands out there in the field to get things done. Are we using our hands as hammers, as levers, or are we using our other tools that are available to us, right? So we want to maybe change and think about the way we work, okay? And then the last thing that we can do is protect them. Personal protective equipment, which is the least effective, but it's still a means of protection or a means of control in here, okay? So one of the things I want to talk about this morning was just glove use, selection of glove use. So it's absolutely crucial for the tasks that you're doing. Gloves having the right fit, the right dexterity, they fit your needs, right? So if you get a glove that doesn't really fit, or it shouldn't be used, it doesn't give you the dexterity for the task, it can almost become more dangerous at that point, right? That's why sometimes we just ditch the gloves. But nowadays there's so many different gloves out there, different types of gloves out there, that we really should be able to use them to meet our needs. So I just want to talk about a few different types here. Leathers. So your leathers are your hot work. There's the heavier leathers for any kind of welding, cutting, but your basic leathers are good for any kind of materials where you're dealing with sharp objects, or you might have a case where you could pinch them. So leathers. You have a leather cotton mix. I believe the guys out on the railroad use these with the high vis backing on them. And then you move to hybrids, right? So these MaxiFlex gloves. I don't know how many of you use these. These are great light gloves. They don't provide much for insulation value, but they're super light. They give you a lot of dexterity, and they have pretty good grip on them as well. So they come with a rubber palm face. And for dealing with the lighter, sharper objects, they have pretty good laceration protection on them. Okay, pretty good cut protection. So as we move into the winter months, obviously we got our Kinkos, right? Our insulated gloves, our heavy leathers that are great for the cold. A nice pair of Kinkos on a cold day goes a long ways, keeping your hands warm. All right, so always nice to make sure you have an extra pair of gloves in the truck if yours get wet or damaged or something like that. But these can turn a bad day into a okay day. All right, so keeping your hands warm. So another one I want to talk about was these Rough Flex. These are another hybrid that have a rubber palm, kind of a nitro backing cotton mix. They're hybrid glove, but they're insulated, so they're a thermal glove. They have actually pretty good dexterity, unlike your Kinkos. They give you a lot of movement in the glove. They're not as hot as those as well. So just want to talk about those real quick. Those are a nice glove to have, especially for miscellaneous tasks. Moving down the line, less protection for cut protection, but you have your nitro gloves or your rubber gloves. These ones go right up to your elbows, right? So for any guys doing water breaks or sanitary lines, these are super helpful. Any kind of task that you get into where it's going to be a lot of water or something like that, having a pair of these, couple pair of these, can go a long ways as well. All right, and then the last one, nitrile or latex gloves. Mechanics, I know these. You guys use these a lot, especially when you're greasing equipment, dealing with oils or anything like that. Another one that I like to use these in is when you're using spray foams or adhesives. So keeping those adhesives off your skin, get them on the gloves instead, disposables. So they can be a little hot at times. They don't breathe as well, but they're a nice tool. And the last thing I wanted to say was that all of these gloves, all these different type of gloves, can all be found down in the tool crib if you talk to Elliot. So these are all available down there. This is where I got all these yesterday. All right. So just want to talk about that real quick. And the last part is only you guys can prevent hand injuries. All right. So just think about the way you're working out there. If you can eliminate putting your hand in a pinch point or putting it in a place where it could get hurt or cut, maybe we should think about using a different tool, a different way of doing it. So only you can prevent it. So that's all I had. Thank you guys. Joey, do you want to talk about foundations real quick? Or foundation, sorry?
Yep. I just want to interrupt 1 second. Love your feedback on what we're purchasing. Let us know. It's good, bad, indifferent. Like Justin said, there's a million different manufacturers, a million different gloves out there. We're trying to provide you guys what we think might be the best for us. Without your feedback, we don't know. So please let us know if you like them or not as we move forward. Sorry.
No problem. Thanks. Regarding foundation, I just want to say everyone's doing a hell of a job. I think we've made big strides in this last week and a half of actually you're running this thing hard. So thank you to everybody. People are asking questions. We're all learning things every single day. I know I'm way better off today than I was Monday morning this week. So hopefully it's the same for all you guys who are in it day to day. Just a reminder for this week, for time that should have been entered in continuously throughout this week, and that will be processed starting next Monday. We're doing the double entry. We're doing our normal paperwork as well, and that's what's going to get us paid. That's the paperwork that's going to go into the system. And then the foundation, all the entries I've been doing this week has just been practice for everybody, for yourselves as input, and for the approvers, and for Ursula and Sarah and everybody over there on processing it. And so they'll be doing a mock paycheck run to make sure, and hopefully we got some good comparable results at the end between our typical system and then the new foundation system. And then starting next week, which starts Sunday the 20th, and any work done after Sunday the 20th, all of the time will go into the foundation system only. And so that's what's going to get us paid. That'll be the main source of truth for all of everyone's time, equipment time, labor time, materials, etc., notes and things like that. You can still maintain the same daily report time card process if it helps you. You don't need to throw that away if it helps you keep track of what's going on in the jobs. But just know that the stuff going into foundation next week needs to be 100% accurate and real. If there's if you have any questions, if anyone accidentally submits something that was wrong, then just call up the person who's going to be approving it, and then we have the ability to make edits throughout, and we have been, and it's been great. So we're all learning there. So any questions on that? Good. We'll keep up. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
If they don't match, like we turn everything in and it doesn't match, so you're just gonna let us know, correct one or the other. I mean, to see.
For this week?
Yeah.
Yep. For this week, we'll try to see what what are the big things that don't match, and just let the individuals know where they didn't match up, just so you can go consciously into next week knowing what you might have to change or alter. And we're also going to be sending out some emails and handing out some more like one-page training sheets on a few subjects that have come up that we thought might be good to put some more tutorial information down on paper for everybody. So we're all working the same process, the same way. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Yeah, we got it.
All right, so announcements quick. Monday, the 21st, Martin Luther King Day. It's a federal holiday, but we will be open. We will be working. Again, anyone needs insurance, 2019 insurance cards, I think we're in pretty good shape, but if crew trucks or any stragglers out there, get with Scott or Larry for those cards. We're going to have to redo this whole thing in, I believe, April or March, unfortunately. But at least that will be that calendar year starting then. I'm going to pass over to Ben, and he's going to talk about a member of ECI that we lost last week, 2 weeks ago, I believe.
Okay, a couple of quick things for that.
Yeah, okay.
We've got.
Oh, that was on the bottom.
Yeah.
It was after.
I'm going to talk about that quick.
Okay.
Nobody's responded yet to Ken. I have these, the 4 tickets to the Yankee Classic. So the first and second responses to the email get 2 tickets.
Yeah, anyone interested in this? It's something that we do every year. Get with Ben or raise your hand now. You get 2 tickets. Everyone wants them. Yankee Sports Classic in Essex Junction. Anyone want them? 3. Huh? You want them? Yep. Anyone else want them? Anyone wants a second pair? Sean. Saw his hand. Oh, sorry.
Ooh.
Sean Lanford.
Okay.
Don't be bashful, guys. Trying to give away free stuff.
They're gone. I better text him before he starts telling me to give them to someone else.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's not driving, because I know he's on the road. There, now he knows. So we don't go up the road. All right, and as far as the foundation stuff goes, I think there's, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, but I think everyone's been doing a really good job, and I think a lot of it is still, we still have the ability to kind of figure out how we're doing this moving forward, but you guys are a big part of it, because we can adapt and change this process pretty easily based on the feedback that we get. You know, we've already added some different features to it, just even regarding like Larry, your stuff. We added some different features in there so that to make things easier for the mechanics. So you guys also just let us know if something doesn't seem right. I think we have the ability to tweak it within the constraints of what the system can actually do. And then in the future, if we have things that we want to change, we have a method to input that information into a system whereby the people that are developing this stuff that want to keep their jobs are always trying to change it. So they in order to keep their jobs with Foundation, they have to keep developing. So when we give them the good feedback, they are continuously evolving the system. So I don't know how often that happens, but even with Computeries, like every couple of weeks or every month at least, we would have a update, and then different things would change with the system. So what we bought is going to be different in a year. It's going to be different through time, because what they're doing with these programs now is they're evolving to fit the market and to fit our needs. We're a fairly good size user, so I think they're going to be hopefully looking to help us a little bit. So let people know when you're frustrated. because there's probably some opportunity there. You guys probably already know, we sent out some emails. Doc Josh did pass away last week, right? Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, the 10th. So 9 days. But one of the things I wanted to say about him is that he worked really hard, like all you guys do. His life was, he's up at 3 o'clock in the morning and 2 o'clock in the morning responding to people and dealing with his work. But he also did the things that he needed to do, that he wanted to do in his life. He had no regrets. He and I talked about that. He was a close friend of mine, probably for the last 15 years. And he went on, he worked hard, but he also did the things he wanted to do in life when he could. And he was able to walk around and talk and joke up to a couple of weeks ago when Matt and I went to see him. So just remember that there's other things in your life that you want to do. Don't wait until either you're not here anymore and you can't do them, or you're in a state where you're unable physically to do it. I think this place is pretty understanding. I think when we got to take time off and go do something, do it, because life's too short. Now, I think I wanted to, and that was one of his passions right there. Actually, two of them. He was a pilot, instrument rated. He was a pretty good pilot. He was a little bit old school sometimes. Ken could tell you that. He went on a trip with him. But what's that, a king? What is that thing? Salmon?
Yeah.
I mean, and he ate those. And he butchered them. He grew up very poor in New York City. And his father started a butcher shop. So if you ever went to his house, he was always cutting something up or cooking it or butchering his own animals. And I think his wife gave away to his sons like 200 or 300 pounds of meat in various freezers that he had around the house from things that he hunted and caught and butchered. And he was like a chef, I guess, in one of his other passions. So anyway, turn it over to Ben to talk about our the other Ben. To turn over, can you flip this up to?
Just quickly, everything's still changed with Champlain Medical. We're still gonna continue that partnership with Beth, and but the latest news on Josh. That's all.
Yep.
So we're contracted with the NECR for their 2018 Capital Bridge project. Project consists of rehabbing decks, bearings, and superstructures for 13 bridges from the East Alberg Trestle all the way to Deck Truss in Millers Falls, Mass. So the detailed scope involved replacing exactly 288 structural bridge ties, 2 steel stringers, should be 3 timber bridge bearings, dozens of polymer concrete bearing pedestals, 8 fabricated steel bearing pedestals that we fabbed in-house, 2 soil nail and shotcrete wing walls, 4 timber bent caps, and various shimming and traffic control. Some of these bridges are over water, some of them were over town highways and state highways. Driving force behind the project was slow orders out on the NECR, where they have to drop from track speed or the speed limit for trains because of a structural or a surface defect that would make it unsafe to travel at that speed. So our work was to alleviate these conditions and get the railroad in these spots back up to track speed. Of all the jacking requirements, or of all the jacking required for the jobs, almost all these jobs required jacking the bridge or part of the bridge. Bridge 3911 was noteworthy because we actually jacked the same bridge back in 1999 to do bearing pedestals on the north side. This year we did the south side, and we came up with kind of an idea of how we wanted to do it. And then we talked to Gene, and he divulged that he had already done it and showed us some pictures, and it was kind of neat because we came up with a pretty similar idea. Here's the guys in Millers replacing, I think the new stringers are already in, the new stringers are about to go in, and they're shaving some rivets. We replaced the S sections with wider W sections. That's a high bridge. There it is from the highway bridge. Here's us in Bethel on 3911 setting up our jacking frame. So we actually spanned the bridge with the length of the bridge with long beams back to the approaches on each side, and then used a whaler and hollow jacks to lift it from above because you couldn't get underneath it because there's no clearance. There's no clearance on the pedestal, and there's just 2 lanes tight. So there's no room for a jacking frame underneath. So that's a picture of our jacking assembly lifting the bridge from above in 2018. And here's the guys replacing some approach ties on the bridge deck. And so here's that same bridge in 1999, and there's the jacking frame we used. So pretty similar, kind of neat.
Thanks, Ben. Well, let's have a safe day out there. Let's drive safe. Love everybody working the weekend, moving snow. Let's take our time. It's supposed to be cold and a lot of snow. Let's see what happens. Ken Howard. Jeff Barber. John Burns. Albert Pequin. Logan Cole. Josh Davies.
Yeah, these are the insulated. Insulated, huh? The other ones.
And they don't like leather gloves when they get real cold. They get hard. Those shouldn't. Elliot's out today.
These are actually nice too. They fit.
Oh yeah.
That's the problem I always have is my hands are smaller.
We can give you a lot of dexterity.
Yeah, I know that's right.
Walter Knott. Mario Penier. John Lampier. Working on David LaRock. Alan Paterno. Jesse Littlefield.
My wife and I.
Zach McQueen. Ken Munson.
So now we're
Rod Nelson.
finishing up the job.
Matt Pickren.
That's
Adam
not
Piper.
bad.
Andrew Piper. Randy Piper.
Did he put it in the back? It put me on the bottom of the pile. But yeah.
Patrick Pratt.
9 o'clock. Yeah. Well, it's all the main stuff.
Joe.
It's just I don't like sanding.
Michael Ando.
I do it all.
Larry.
My wife
Gregory Rato. Corey Rooney.
out of your track. I said, look, Barb. So I showed
Joe
her last
Severy.
week. I did the back wall by the window.
Daniel Suture.
Check that out. That whole light.
Timothy Suture. Justin.
She's like pushing for the shadows. Yeah. She's
Kevin.
like, oh,
Michael Sterling.
sanded. I said,
I submitted everything.
Larry Sullivan.
she's like,
Joey Sumner.
oh, I never see it. I hate it. I hate seeing it.
Eric
I don't.
Tillian.
So I travel.
Time was right. That's what I
Just like a floor.
Elliot.
was there. She was on my ass yesterday. But not
Yeah.
Jacob.
There's an art to it.
Richard Ward. Pat
You
Wells.
actually gotta think about it like a floor finisher. When it gets, you let it get to it has to be the right thing, and then you turn to your job, and you have to. You gotta turn it up. She's in there mentioned that to me last night. And I started screwing it up. I'm like, you know what? Just go away. Come back. Yeah. But doing that at night, instead of calming down my son, hold on.
That would have been a hell of a letting.
I didn't make
What's that?
I didn't make up a backup for it.
You didn't? What?
It's not over.
We'll help you pull that up. So yeah.
I don't know how to get it back.
You need something?
We'll show you how to do it. It's easy.
Just those 2 weeks.
Snooze, they lose.
There is a report called submitted time.
I got that. No, I got that.
Check it out. Let me know if you need help. We'll come over. Yeah. See, you got it. No, but like 9 o'clock last night. You have to be in the right mood to do it, don't you? Oh, you got my son's bed. Yeah. Yeah.
Have a good day.
I don't use
Goes the wrong way.
anymore. I tried
Just to
that.
let you know that.
I
Okay,
go
next
in
time
for
it'll
both
come to you.
ways.
I'm just saying.
Just people that aren't on it and put the time into it don't get it.
Huh?
When it comes time to
Patience
check
is
off.
the huge thing on that.
Check off what? I didn't
Time
sign in
and
last
then-
week, so I charged you. Give me a
Just kidding, Larry.
Come on.
I try to use the page.
Hey.
These little, so I gotta go fix that.
Anything to ruffle your feathers.
You know what I do at the very end? But when I do, I usually do it takes me 4 times to get it really good. And then I go with it. I got a nice little 6-inch, it's an expensive, stainless, I guess it's chrome or stainless, nice little blade. And then you'll go and if you have an imperfection, you shine the light and then you pop it on and then
Real flexible, probably.
it's not that flexible. It is at the very tip, but then you just just kind of burn it in, just like finishing concrete floor. You know how you
When
burn
I
it
turned
in?
it off, it didn't mute
You
it.
know where I live, right?
Yep.
I've got more that needs to be done. You sound like an expert.
It's patience. Well, I'm meticulous when it comes to that stuff. My wife thinks that I'm over it.
OCD.
Yeah. I was just telling him like doing sheetrock in this room, and I showed Barb the back wall, and she's like, "Whoa." Well, I never sand. I don't sand, and I don't even put no sandpaper.
See, I don't
touches
feel
it.
guilty now when I paint right over it. What are you doing?
I do it all with the trowel, so I got my assortment. I get good trowels, but it drives her crazy. She's like, "Are you doing it again?" I said, "I am not sanding this fucking thing, so I don't waste it." You ever
Bring back
put it on?
that
You always
thing?
sand off more than you put on.
Bernie,
Oh yeah.
bring back your
guilty.
things.
Then you have to buy a little bubbly thing.
The sniffer.